Welcome to Heal the World Show podcast, brought to you by the Healing Institute. The Healing Institute is a worldwide online hub and platform of holistic practitioners. And we are out to make health and healing just improve it so much globally for all of the people that we can think need the healing of holistic ways of being well and staying well. And our practitioners that are on the Healing Institute platform, that's what they do. They get to the root cause of what the issue might be. And that's something that I believe that maybe we haven't done in the medical model we've had for the last 50 years, where it just kind of looked at symptoms. It didn't look at the root cause. So that's how we distinguish ourselves. And as well, we are looking at ways to be well and stay well. I call the Healing Institute because I'm passionate about educating people on their health journey. And let's face it, we're all on a health journey. So let's make it a proactive one, not a reactive one. So the reason the Healing Institute is my passion and I created it was because we did have a tragedy in our family a number of years ago when my mom passed away at age 61 because of complications with a medication that she had been on for a very long time. And not once were we ever indicated or she was advised that being on this medication for a long period of time would compromise her kidneys. And so she passed away on December 15th, right before Christmas. I was 5 months pregnant with my son. And the reason I say that it wasn't only that she died at a young age, but my children didn't get to meet their grandmother. And I just don't want that happening for other families. So that's my passion, why the Healing Institute is so important, and why I love to invite uh, different healers and people to come on the podcast and have a conversation about health and healing. And and I invite them because of their expertise and what they are doing out in the world. So this episode is our 111th episode. I've been doing this for a little over 2 years. October, it's the end of October. It's actually the 31st of October. So, but the theme this month has been Optimistic October. So I'm just really delighted to have Sansei Nancy Mueller with me today. Pardon me. I just have my water. So Nancy, we are going to be talking about Secrets in the Attic, a woman's journey to empowerment for October's theme of Optimistic October. So tell us a little bit about yourself and how you now you're a Sansei, how that came about.
Sure. Let me go ahead and just share that, and you can take another drink. Um, well, the term sensei comes from my days as a student competitor and teacher in the martial arts. And my clients now, they just pick that up. They love calling me that. Like, thank you, sensei. Thank you. So I don't teach in the karate studio, but I do teach the metaphysical practices of awareness, awake, and loving who you are. So last year, um, I happened to publish another book, and I titled it Secrets in the Attic: A Woman's Journey to Empowerment. And the way this all came about, I literally was in the attic. So when I was a child, I learned to keep many secrets.
Mm.
Secrets about the mental abuse, verbal abuse, physical abuse that escalated to sexual abuse by the age of 12. So there are things that you don't talk about in the
Mm.
family. And um, being of Italian descent, it's like you don't talk about the family business, don't even talk about it with the family. And so you think, okay, I just don't know what to do. How should I make sense of this? But then of course, when I got to be an adult and started doing things on my own, I started not keeping those secrets. And then that had some fallout. So it was a
Mm.
really interesting journey. But with the secrets that I kept in childhood, kind of got the feeling like gosh, I don't see anyone else in my family having, meaning aunts, uncles, cousins, and
Mhm.
all of, the extended family. Like, no one else seems to have these problems that we have. Well, I happened to be in an attic with my two of my cousins. They were getting ready to sell their parents' home. And there was so much stuff up in the attic, and we were going through it and getting the house ready, and I came across a box that my aunt had kept so much information about our family members. I'm talking newspaper clippings and birth certificates, and
Wow.
it's just like it was so amazing, the treasure trove of information that was in that box. So as the three of us were going through the box and we are learning things about family members that we had no idea, we were just gobsmacked. We were like, I didn't know that. Did you know that? And my one cousin said to me, well, I guess we know what your next book's going to be about. And I said, yes. And I think I'm going to call it Secrets in the Attic. So when I wrote the book, I use the word attic as a euphemism for the mind,
Right.
because
Yeah.
we all have that attic, right? Where
Right.
we store secrets. And maybe they're just, simple secrets that, um, I don't know, really are don't do any harm to anyone else. But most of the time, it's about the secrets that we don't want to share. It's about how we feel about ourselves, how we feel about how we were raised, maybe secrets that about experiences that we had. So that's the backstory for the book. And I had a lot of fun writing it, and it's still here more than a year later.
Well,
Um,
congratulations. Yeah, for
yeah.
sure. That I love the title. The title is amazing because when we have those secrets, when we keep those secrets, we don't have empowerment, right?
Correct.
We
Right.
and so that is so very important, especially if we've had if there's been abuse in the family. And then how to let that out because we have to heal from that. We have to make, you know, take those steps to heal from what has happened to us. So I just want to quickly recognize Marie Piplovic is here with us today. She's one of our practitioners with the Healing Institute. And Marie always has great comments and questions. So she just gave a little comment here saying, great title. So yes.
Well, I think another thing that was really apparent to me is how we think that we are the only one who keeps these secrets. And we don't
Mhm.
stop to think about, well, what about the secrets that other people are keeping and that we just didn't know about it? Obviously, that's why it's a secret. And you really, it's very freeing because you
Oh, yeah.
realize, like, oh, I'm not the only one.
Yes, it's very confirming, I think, too, when you realize that other people have had that experience. So you're not alone in the world trying to deal with whatever that was. So Marie has a great, just see if this was a question or so Marie says, since secrets can bring up trauma, how do you teach how to discern who to share those secrets with? Oh, that's a great question.
Well, when I wrote my first book, it was more like a kind of like an autobiographical book, and it was interesting because I was at a time of my life I was going through my divorce of after 32 years of being married, and I just felt like, how can I continue to do this work with women if my life is falling apart? And so there was a part of me that just felt like I wanted to be very transparent and let people know, like, things happen in our life. And in answer to your question, I think that the secrets have to be something that we decide, you know what,
Mm,
I've held
yeah.
on to this long enough, and it is my story to tell. And then you share the story, and that in itself is so empowering because when you get it out of you, it makes such a huge difference. But then also when you share the story, first of all, it's really important to know that if you're sharing your story from a place of pain, you still haven't healed from it.
Right. Yeah.
So when you share your story from a place of power, meaning you feel empowered, you
Hmm.
embody that feeling of power, like, yes, that is totally different. So someone who might have an adverse reaction to the story that you're sharing, that simply shows that maybe there's something in their attic that
Right.
they might want to take a look at.
Yeah, absolutely. And so if you are sharing your story from a place of pain, you may be then attracting other people who are feeling the same way. They have a story to share, and it's a painful story.
Yeah,
Marie says that's a very good point. Share from a place of empower, not pain, which
yeah.
is very, very, very important.
And I
Um,
think it's really important for people who are looking for someone to work with
mhm.
about, you know, in this type of area, that you make sure that you're working with someone who is sharing their story from a place of pain. Because those of us who are doing this type of work, most of us have been through some type of a journey and we've come through it. And now we're turning around and sharing that
Right.
opportunity with other
So
people.
we're feeling empowered. So then we feel that, well, we can share our story so we can help and empower other people.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
we want to make sure, or for the person looking for someone to work with, make sure that, you know, you do your due diligence, ask questions. And if
Mm,
you feel like, you know, the person that you're considering working with is still breaking down and, you know, maybe having adverse reactions or negative reactions when they share any part of their story, then you know that that person hasn't quite healed, or maybe there's
right.
still some secrets in their own attic. And um, just think about that.
Yeah, you have to be aware of that and then being able to take that into consideration as you continue on if you're actually going to be working with a person like that.
Hmm.
Um, so let's talk a little bit about other secrets that could be in people's attics, um, and how they can feel comfortable on then revealing those secrets, whoever that might be, to whether it's a coach or a therapist or a friend or family. How would they be able to feel comfortable then sharing those secrets? I guess they'd have to be hanging out in an attic like you were with your cousins.
Well, you know, a lot is said about the term imposter syndrome.
Mm,
Someone who learns something and then they want to turn around and teach it to someone else, but they have questions in their mind like, who am I to teach this stuff?
yeah.
Who am I to do this? And that right there is a good example of a secret in your attic, right? You have this secret thought, belief, experience that people aren't going to take you seriously, or
Yeah.
that you don't
Yeah.
have enough knowledge. And for me, the way that I see secrets, it doesn't have to be some big, oh my gosh, what? Oh my gosh. It doesn't have to be some big revelation. It's simply the the story that you're telling yourself about why you're not good enough, smart enough, worthy enough. And that is something that you have the opportunity to release, let go, speak it out loud. It's so amazing when you speak the words out loud to another person, how freeing it is,
Yes.
especially when
Yeah.
you can speak the words
Yeah.
out
It takes
loud.
away all that.
Yeah,
Well,
especially
and
when you
and
can.
if you
Mhm. Go
bring
ahead.
back that brings back your own power too, where you're acknowledging it, but you're also embracing it and letting the healing begin. It's like the healing's not going to begin until you can actually articulate what it is that is really bothering you.
And there are so many women who have these secrets like, oh, I don't have enough social status, or I hang around with women who love to do certain things, and I just dare not tell them that I don't have the money to do the things that they want to do, because it would be so embarrassing not to, you know, for them to think that I can't afford to do something. So those secrets that we keep,
Mhm.
then we end up disempowering ourselves over here because we're not willing to be open over here. But when we're not willing to be open over here, we are doing ourselves a disservice.
Yeah.
Take women who are in abusive relationships. It's what I'll just use the word embarrassing. Like, oh my gosh, no, it's so embarrassing. I can't tell anybody that, I'm going through this because um people think that I'm, successful and
Yeah.
I've got it
People will
all
think
going
less of
on.
me. Right.
Yeah, how
Yeah.
dare I let them know? And then on the flip side, perhaps they're keeping the secret because, they love their partner so much and they don't want people to think poorly of their partner. But still, it's like, okay, so the secret that you're keeping is disempowering you in a big way, especially energetically.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
doesn't matter what people think about us. That has nothing to do with it. It's about the energy that you're holding inside of you, and the universe does not like a vacuum.
Well,
So,
and I think that is really an important point about the energy, the positive and negative energy that we hold on to when we have these secrets.
yeah.
So, that's again not going to be a way forward to actually heal who we are and then find a path to feel more empowered if we're hanging on to that negative energy because we we don't want people to think ill of us. I think the phrase I heard many years ago was whatever people think of me is none of my business. And so that really helped me come to terms with, well, if you want to think that of me, you can think that of me. That, it's not who I see myself as being, but um that's in your brain, not in my brain. So
Well, and to your point, the secrets that we're keeping, it impacts the way we speak.
yeah.
Like how freely we share about our love of self or don't
Yes.
share our love of self. So our voice is our most powerful vibration. And when you think about that, when you are speaking and you're keeping things on the down low, so to speak, and you're really keeping yourself in a very low vibrational frequency. But when you free yourself of that, now you start to speak from the heart instead of
Yes.
from the gut.
Mhm.
And it makes all the difference.
Huge amount of difference. Yeah, absolutely. And very freeing in that now you've moved that negative energy out. And that's some of the work that I do with the body code is helping clients move out those emotions that are trapped. Yes, they're trapped in the subconscious, but they're also trapped in our bodies. So if we're going to have that kind of negative vibration or trapped emotions in our bodies, that is going to create dis-ease. And that is that is something that we're only still learning. We're kind of at the tip of the iceberg, just finding out how vibration and energy affects us physically. Because we've
Well,
always ever been told this is the physical body, it knows it all, when in fact it doesn't. So
Well, and we have to know that um, the words we speak, um, are we personalizing it? So we go
yeah.
into duality and non-duality. So when you're in the dualistic realm and you're using words like I, me, my, and mine, and you're constantly saying, I had this experience, I went through this, I'm suffering this, the universe, which is neutral, just says, okay, your wish is my command. And it's going to bring us more of that. So it's not even about attracting anything, it's simply about expanding what you're verbalizing.
Yes, very true. Yes.
And most people don't even realize that the language they're using, the words they're using, and the weight that their words have. And because, years and years and years of speaking the same way all the time. Yeah. And having that opportunity to really step back and say, hey, how am I speaking? What's
Yeah.
going on here? And it would be really amazing for people to just video themselves, in
Yeah.
the privacy of their own home. Whatever secret you feel is there, say it into your camera and video yourself, then watch it. And then if you're afraid somebody's going to see it, just delete it. But you would be amazed at how cathartic that is.
Oh, I'm sure. And also, what you were saying about the words that we speak, but oftentimes we don't even speak them out loud. Those are words that we're thinking, our emotions that we're thinking, or how we're not worthy, or how we're not good enough for this and good enough for that. That's our in our thoughts. And we're not actually even articulating that. But our thoughts are so powerful because they become things that they're just as powerful as if we're speaking them out loud. So we have to
Well,
be.
and when we come to the understanding that thoughts are inevitable, the thoughts are always going to come up. But when we get used to when we stop being afraid of what we're thinking and
Mhm.
simply allow the thoughts to float by like bubbles that you blow through those little things or clouds passing by or something, and you just see it as a thought. You're just aware of a thought passing. Oh, yeah, okay. But it's when we energize it,
Yes,
that's
that's
when
true.
we are creating something within the
Yeah,
body.
absolutely. So do you have some techniques that you can share with our audience that helps besides did you have your book? You can show us your book.
I do. So this is what it looks like
Cool. And how can
at
people
a
get a
door.
hold of it?
Well, my website is should be in the description, and masteringyourbeliefs.com. Anything
Okay.
you want to know or more than you want to know, maybe you can find there. So all the information is there. But for someone who's looking for ways to let those secrets out, and I think it's been my experience that culturally, sometimes it can be very difficult to share a secret because
Mhm.
our culture plays into why we don't
Absolutely.
speak
Mhm.
up, why we keep secrets about ourselves and maybe about other people. And so, one of the things that you can do is say, well, what is the worst that's going to happen? And then when the mind starts coming in, because it'll say, well, this is going to happen and that's going to happen and somebody's going to get in trouble. And um, you can ask yourself, well, how do I know this? And just watch the story that the mind keeps feeding you.
Because it
Because,
could be feeding you a false story.
well, but the thing is we really believe it, right? Like,
Yes, we do.
that's why little children, they're so afraid to speak up and let people know because they're like, oh my, I'm going to get my parents in trouble, or somebody's going to get hauled off to jail. And that's very frightening for children. And that fear can stay with us into adulthood. What if I speak up and then this person gets in a lot of trouble? And we are so afraid. But the thing is to remember, we all are only responsible for us. So, what is it that you need? What is the opportunity that your higher self is giving you, inviting you to take a look at? And when you say, you know what, I just feel like I need to get this out of me. But then you tell yourself, but if I do, then this is going to happen. Well, now you're making up stories
Yeah.
because you don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah, you're just think your mind is going um into the future that may not even occur.
And it doesn't have to be like me who's out there publicly talking about this stuff. I mean, it's just find someone that you trust and find someone who's knowledgeable about this information and have a conversation with them and start there so that it's private. And then you can see, because once you speak it out loud, even if your voice shakes, you are expelling that energy that has been trapped in the body for so long. And then there's also that opportunity to have it maybe played back to you as somebody asking you questions.
Mm.
And then you realize, like, oh gosh, I've been holding on to this fear, this anxiety, this angst for so long, and I didn't even need to hold this.
Yeah, beautiful. I love that. So Marie's got another comment here. Some of the ideas of thoughts and words and their power, bring me back to how some religions use that to control, and that they can be even more painful. So how do you address that? How would you address sort of that kind of conditioning?
Religion is that's another secret, right? That we keep. However, whatever our interpretation is of the religious dogma we grew up with, that can impact how we um, how we see our story, how we share our story. For me, it was always so difficult as a child because that one commandment, right? Honor thy father and thy mother. And I can remember as a child thinking, how am I supposed to honor my mother and my father when they're the people that I need protection from? It doesn't
Mhm.
make sense to me. So if I'm getting angry because of what's happening to me, then does that mean I'm going to burn and go to hell? And it was just like this going this
A loop.
cycle.
Yeah.
And so you're afraid to go left, you're afraid to go right. So again, it's asking yourself, like, well, how much do I really know about this religious dogma that I grew up with? And that's different. There's a difference between what you know and what you believe,
Right. Yeah.
because you might believe that you could walk across the room, but when you know you can walk across the room, you just get up and walk. So it's totally different, a belief versus a knowing. Now, again, that can be scary for some people because it's years and years and years of conditioning and like,
Yeah.
oh gosh, I can't say this or do this, and it's going against everything, or that's really going to set somebody off. And the thing is there again, you're living in the future. When you're living in the future, that's when you're feeling anxious and anxiety pops up. And when you're living in the past, that's a lot of sadness and depression. So if you're not living in the now and dealing with it in the
So
now,
important. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's wonder. I love that. Yeah. So let me see what, Marie's got another one. I like that a belief versus knowing. So I like that a belief versus a knowing. We can have disempowering beliefs, and yet we know what is true for each of us.
Mhm.
And we also need to, I believe, we also need to examine those beliefs that we were raised with, because we get to adulthood and oftentimes they don't fit for us anymore. And so then we can make some choices about how to change the thinking around that belief.
And what's really interesting that I have found is that we might grow up with religious dogma. And when I'm using the word dogma, it's because I don't want to put anything out there about religion or say anything negative about anything, because everyone's belief is their belief and
Yeah.
everyone has a right to believe what they want to believe. It's just simply a teaching that you grew up with, right? There's no right or wrong, no good or bad. It's simply like, how is it working for you right now in this moment?
Mhm.
And if there is some kind of religious dogma, such as, like I mentioned, honor thy father and thy mother, and you feel like, well, if I talk about this stuff that's going on, then I'm dishonoring my parents. Well, how are you dishonoring yourself? How are you disempowering yourself? And it's not the child's responsibility to take care of the parent. And that's the thing I think that sometimes is missed, is we think like, well, I'm responsible for all of this,
Mhm.
especially, if you grew up taking care of siblings or feeling responsible for your parents or something, then you feel like, well, okay, I just can't let this go. I can't speak this out loud. I can't. And we are only responsible for our own energetic journey.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And oftentimes, wherever we are in where our birth order, um, I mean, there's only, I have a sister, so there's just the two of us, but I'm the oldest. And so there was that responsibility. I think that's been passed down on by generations, where the oldest had to look, be responsible and look after the youngest. So when you're still a child, you don't quite know how to take on that responsibility, or if it's being, if your parents are encouraging you to be more responsible. Not that responsibility is bad, it's good, it's a good thing to learn, but being actually responsible for another human, that's hard, especially when you're a young child and you don't know what you don't know. So you have to just, yeah, I think looking at the responsibility that you might have, or that you had to be part of when you were growing up, that could also trigger some ways of you behaving, um, and feeling it like an imposter, or just having those anxious beliefs, or anxious feelings, I should say, about who you are in the world.
Well, and when you see what type of feelings and emotions are coming up through different experiences, it
Yeah,
could be something in the workplace is happening, and you're like, hey, that feels the same as it does when I'm at home, and this is going on. So it's recognizing that feeling or emotion. It's also knowing that those feelings and emotions are simply forms arising within the infinite space of awareness.
yes,
And
that's true.
again, if you
Yeah.
can simply observe and watch them, and not judge them, the art of non-judgment is so powerful.
Very powerful. Yes, absolutely. Well, this has just been a delightful conversation. I'm so glad that you were able to be on the podcast with us today. So, of course, as the Healing Institute, we have a vision to really reach out to the world and to make health and healing available. We have amazing expert health practitioners. As I mentioned earlier, they will customize whatever you need. It's not one size fits all. Everyone has a 30-minute complimentary consultation, so you can hop on and chat with them and make sure that it's a good fit. We truly believe that it has to be a good fit for everybody. Our motto is service with love, and we have a big ask. So please reach out. If you're watching this or you're listening to this, please send it out to your community, to your family, to your friends, to your colleagues, and let them know about the Healing Institute and the fact that we have these amazing holistic practitioners that are waiting for you, so that we can help you with health and healing on your health journey. So again, thanks so much, Sensei Nancy Mueller, for being part of our podcast today. And we'll see you all next Friday. It's November already. So we'll see you next Friday on Heal the World Show podcast.
Thank you, Permelia. Thank you.